So today is the 6th of January 2025. That has finally got over all these thoughts that, oh my god, what kind of questions would it be? What would be the difficulty level? Moderate, very difficult. How would I be able to manage the time in those 170 minutes with all the three sections all together? And decision making, which is a whole different idea for this examination. Too many things, I know, and all of it is done and dusted. I know the verbal was lengthy and the decision making was also lengthy. Quants was a little more on the doable side, but when I talk about data interpretation and data sufficiency, that was something that took us a little toll. But eventually, we have made it. We have made it to 6th Jan and 5th Jan has passed. So our that examination has passed and now it's just time for fingers crossed. Let's hope for the best. All those videos of what would be the score versus percentile and all of it makes sense, I agree, but rather than all of it to just predict a percentile, rather than that, just take a seat back and a little relax. You deserve it. After all of the things that you have done, this is not just what I'm telling you, this is also what I'm telling myself. Now, remember before the exam, we talked about, oh my god, there are so many things that we have to do and there are so many things on the table, and we decided let's keep all those things off the table and focus on that. Now that that is over, it's time to take those things back to the table, and I want to discuss the most important and most questionable point of view today with you. That is a question which was a part of IIM Kozhikode first shortlisting process. So first round of their shortlisting, whoever has cleared the cutoff, which was a very basic cutoff, they have sent the mail to everybody. I have received the mail as well, and you had to submit your documents and you have to answer 5 questions, 500 words each, and I wish like the deadline is over, so all of you would have uploaded your SOPs and all of your documents. But one question of those 5 made me thinking, kept me thinking all this while, because that question is very generic. It's not something that would be only applicable to this SOP, it would be applicable everywhere. And that was the question about my strength and my weaknesses. Now, this question is something that is gonna come to me in many recurring ways during our admissions, during our placements, and too many times. And it's a question that we should be worrying about, not because it comes to us, it's a question of self-reflection. So this was the question which kept me thinking, and all the homework that I did behind it is all that I wanted to share with you today. So let's begin. So whenever this question comes up to us, we are always so much worried about the fact that, oh my god, how are we going to answer it? What am I going to say? And all of it. But take a pause. Before discussing how and what, we definitely should talk about why. According to the Simon Sinek Golden Circle rule, it all should start with why. The first question is, why somebody is asking this question? What information is that person trying to get out of the answer that you're going to give? What is their motive behind asking this question? So, I have 3 major points which would discuss why and which would eventually solve our what and how as well. So, starting with the first point. This is a question of self-awareness. It's like, okay, what's your skin color? You know, how are your hair? Curly, straight? What's the cloth color that you are wearing? What kind of clothes that you are wearing? This all are a very basic self-awareness question regarding your appearance, which changes maybe not according to choice as well. The same way, this is a question of self-awareness of yourself from within. So it's as important as that we know what are we wearing. This is equally important to know about ourselves. So it's a kind of a thing that, okay, you are going out to know the world, but do you know yourself? Do it first. Like it's just as simple as that. Do you know yourself? How have you been? What have you done well? Where is the problem? When did you stop? When did you were like, oh my god, I don't know how to figure this out, and what helped you and what not? So it's like when you are going out in the world to be in the pool of so much of knowledge and wisdom and too many different people and organizations and ideas and all of it. But before to go ahead on it, do you know yourself? Do you know yourself enough that you could put yourself out there? So that's the main agenda or motive behind asking this question. So it's a question of self-awareness. Now, when we talk about this, please make sure one point, you cannot answer this question very generic. My self-awareness does not depend upon what Google result gives me, what are the highest, most frequent weaknesses or strength. That's not self-awareness. I'm very sorry about that. So it's a question of introspection. So you can take your time, you can sit and think, okay, Yashvi, okay, whatsoever. Like, what are the problems that I have faced in my life and how did I overcome that? What are the strengths that I have that I implemented and I was able to come out of it? And so many times we think, oh, this is so easy, and it does not turn out to be. So where am I lacking? What is the shortcoming that is not making it happen for me? Spend some good time thinking about it. If you cannot think of it yourself, then it's completely fine. You can call your near and dear ones, because they have been with you in these difficult situations and they would be able to tell you better, being the third umpire of the whole idea. So talk to them, talk about them. Okay, what do you think is my biggest shortcoming, or what do you think is my biggest strength that I could leverage upon? So it is the whole idea that are we aware about ourselves? It's a question of self-awareness. Before jumping into world, please know yourself enough. So how did I answer this question? Is before answering, as I told you, I sat with the thoughts that okay, I came up with some points myself, and then I have called a couple of my friends and family members to ask them, and they verified those points that I had, and they even added a few onto it, which made so much of sense. So that was the main idea. First, why is somebody asking you this question is to awaken you enough that please dude, before going out, know yourself enough. Coming up to the second point. Now, whatever point of views you are going to put there, it is going to be interpreted in multiple ways. Now, what they really want to know is, what kind of mindset do you have? Do you have a fixed mindset, or do you have a growth mindset? Do you belong to that category who is fixated, or do you belong to that category who is evolving? So there is this very important word which I would like to highlight when I talk about growth mindset, and it is yet. The power of yet. If I say, okay, I'm not able to do this, my sentence should not end there. I'm not able to do this yet. It shows that no, I am willing to try out in future. I'm willing to excel in it in future. So that is the point of view that I'm trying to talk about right now. So these strengths and weaknesses would highlight indirectly and even directly many a times that do you belong to that idea of growth mindset, or you are still into the zone of fixated point of view? Are you okay with accepting new point of views, or you are very stubborn with your own ideas and rigid? So that is exactly what we are trying to figure out for ourselves, and what they are trying to figure out for us as well. So 2 point of views. First we talked about self-awareness, and second was idea of growth mindset. Coming towards the last point of view. Now, MBA or any other field you go through is all about team. It's all about how you be with your colleagues. It's all about how the relationships that you make and evolve, and eventually you work the relationships and it eventually does the work for you. Right. So your strengths and weaknesses will directly and indirectly highlight how good you are in the team dynamics. So that would be an important point of view that we would be looking forward to. So when we are talking about why, 3 whys that an interviewer or anybody could be asking you this question is, first they would like to see that are you a self-aware person or not. So make sure your answer is not generic. It is something from your own life which you can give examples of. Why example giving is important is what I'm going to talk to you next. So first is self-awareness. Second is they are trying to assess that do you belong to the category of growth mindset or a fixed mindset. And last but not the least, they are trying to see how well you would fit in their culture, how well you would fit in a team and be a team leader rather than being aloof or bossing around. So these are the three main ideas that is behind an interviewer before they are asking you this. And if you are clear with this, then you can answer accordingly. Let's move ahead. What to say? Very, very, very important. Don't make your answer very generic. Instead, make it specific. Specific to yourself, specific to your own story, which you can give examples of. There might be some of the weaknesses which might not be reflecting well on your resume, but it's your weakness. You know it, and that's more important than anything, right? So to be very honest, one of the weakness that I have written in my I am Kozhikode SOP is multitasking. I cannot multitask. If I'm talking to you right now, I'm talking to you. There is nothing else running in my head or around me that my attention is divided into. I cannot divide my attention. I am a lot more into focused ideas. So that is something that would come on my way. They could flip the situation saying that, oh my God, MBA is a lot about multitasking and this and that. So if I am coming up with a whole different weakness which is not mine, which is just what Google search or Chat GPT search has given me, then I would not be able to justify that. Here I would be able to cite examples that I agree that this is a shortcoming, but on the flip side of this coin, I am very focused in whatever work I do, and eventually it has worked out in my favor. So all these weaknesses and strength are like double-edged sword, right? You can flip the coin whenever you want, but it must be your own that you would able to flip the coin. If it's a Chat GPT version, then you would not be able to. So it's okay if you exaggerate a little, though I would not recommend it, but it's not at all okay to lie, is what my belief is, because it's all about self-awareness, self-reflection, and talking things that you yourself don't believe in does not make sense, because you would not be able to take that conversation ahead, which is more important. So when we talked about why, we discussed the self-awareness, we discussed growth mindset and team dynamics. When we talked about what, we talked about it should not be generic, it should be specific to yourself, and you should not be copying what the other internet says. It should be very much your personal ideas. And last and not the least, let's talk about how. Now, whatever answer that you have prepared, it's very important how are you going to present it. So, in any communication that you are having with anybody, they are trying to assess how well you are in communication and conversation. Are you able to articulate your thoughts properly? Are you able to put them into a proper sentence and present it? Or you are just fumbling the ideas, you are just giving shallow point of views. So communicating your ideas clearly is very important. Now to able to communicate your ideas clearly, you should have a clarity in your head. That's of course the foremost thing. So discussing about why and what will help you to give that clarity, and then practice that. Be confident about whatever you are saying, because it's your story. They are not part of it. You are part of it. You are the one who has lived your life, and there is nothing to be not confident about it. It is something, it's your life. How can you not be confident about it if you are speaking the truth? If you are lying, then of course there would be drop in the way that you are speaking. But if you are telling the truth, you have to be confident. You have to tell them, this is my life and this is how it went, and hence I am telling you this, and this is how I expect it to go. So being confident would come automatically if you are doing this back work. So that's it. Talking about how is just focusing on being confident and being clear and articulating your thoughts properly. And for that, you must have your thoughts clearly in your head. So this what and why will help you to think more clearly, and how will automatically fall into place, as the Simon Sinek says, that focus on why. If you're focusing on why, what and how will automatically fall into place. So that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed sailing along. Thank you so much.